Your cabin attendant just left another towel animal on your bed. You smiled and took a photo. But behind that friendly wave, there's a growing list of things you're doing that make their job a living nightmare. I've talked to dozens of cruise ship cabin stewards across Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian Cruise Line. What they told me will change how you act in your stateroom forever. These hardworking crew members service up to 20 cabins per day, and certain passenger behaviors make that impossible. The worst part? Most cruisers have no idea they're doing anything wrong. Let's dive into the 14 things your cabin attendant secretly hates you doing. And trust me, number 11 will make you cringe if you've ever done it. You're leaving your dirty clothes and towels scattered across every surface in your cabin. Your attendant walks in, and it looks like a laundry bomb exploded. Here's what most cruisers don't realize. Your cabin steward has a specific cleaning routine that takes about 12 minutes per room when things are organized. But when your wet swimsuits are draped over the desk chair, towels are balled up in corners, and clothes are scattered from the bathroom to the balcony, that time doubles. On a recent Carnival cruise, a veteran attendant told me she once found dirty underwear stuffed between couch cushions and wet towels shoved under the bed. She had to dig through everything just to figure out what needed cleaning versus what you plan to wear again. This doesn't just slow her down, it throws off her entire schedule for the day. When she's behind on your room, she's behind on 19 others. The domino effect means some passengers don't get their evening turn-down service until 9 or 10 at night. Here's the simple fix. Create a designated spot for dirty laundry. Most cabins have a laundry bag in the closet. Use it. Hang your damp towels on the bathroom hooks or shower rod. Your attendant will know exactly what needs attention, and your cabin will be pristine by the time you return from the Lido deck. You're treating the Do Not Disturb sign like it's a permanent fixture. You hung it up on embarkation day and forgot it exists. Meanwhile, your cabin attendant is standing in the hallway 3 times a day, unable to do her job. Most people don't realize that when you leave that sign up for more than a day, it creates a massive problem. Your attendant is still responsible for your room. She needs to restock towels, empty trash, vacuum, and check that everything is functioning properly. On Royal Caribbean ships, attendants are required to enter every cabin at least once during a sea day, even if it's just a quick wellness check. When your sign stays up for 48 hours, supervisors start asking questions. A Norwegian Cruise Line steward shared a story about a passenger who kept the sign up for 4 straight days. By day 5, the cabin reeked of garbage, wet towels were breeding mildew, and the passenger complained about the smell. Security had to do a welfare check because the sign had been up so long. Here's the truth. Your attendant isn't trying to invade your privacy. She's trying to give you a clean, comfortable space. If you're sleeping in or want privacy during a specific time, that's completely fine. But take the sign down when you leave for breakfast or shore excursions. Your room will be fresh when you return, and your attendant won't be panicking about falling behind schedule. You're using your stateroom as a buffet storage facility. You're wrapping up pizza slices in napkins, stuffing croissants in your purse, and hoarding fruit in your cabin drawers. Your attendant opens your drawer to restock items and finds a banana that's been decomposing for 3 days. The smell hits like a wall. On MSC cruises, this is such a common problem that attendants now carry extra deodorizing spray. One Carnival steward told me she once found an entire rotisserie chicken wrapped in paper towels and shoved in a nightstand drawer. The grease had soaked through, ruining the wood finish. The passenger was charged a damage fee. But it's not just about the mess. Food left in cabins attracts bugs, especially on Caribbean and Mediterranean itineraries where the climate is warm and humid. Once pests get into one cabin, they spread throughout the entire deck. Your attendant has to report infestations, and the ship has to fumigate, which can take cabins out of service. Here's what cruise lines don't advertise. If an infestation is traced back to your room, you could be charged for fumigation costs and cleaning fees. Most people think they're being smart by saving food, but you're creating a health hazard. If you want snacks in your cabin, stick to pre-packaged items like cookies or chips. Fruit goes bad fast in those small, warm staterooms. Respect your space and your attendant's ability to keep it sanitary. You're ignoring the trash situation entirely. You're shoving garbage into every available crevice. Coffee cups shoved behind the TV, food wrappers stuffed in drawers, and bottles jammed between the bed and the wall. Your attendant isn't a detective. She shouldn't have to hunt for your trash. On a recent Royal Caribbean sailing, an attendant told me she found a used diaper wrapped in a towel and hidden in a closet. The smell had permeated the entire cabin, and it took 2 deep cleanings to eliminate the odor. The family never said a word, just left it there like it would magically disappear. Here's the reality. Your cabin has a small trash can, and it gets emptied twice a day during service. If your trash is overflowing, set the bag outside your door or call housekeeping for an extra pickup. Don't hide it. The longer garbage sits in a warm cabin, especially near air vents, the worse it gets. Your attendant is on a tight schedule. When she has to search your room for hidden trash, she loses valuable time. Plus, it's disrespectful. These crew members work incredibly hard, often for 12-hour shifts, and they deserve basic courtesy. Make their job easier. Use the trash can provided, and if it's full, make it visible. Your attendant will appreciate it, and your cabin will smell fresh instead of like a dumpster. You're leaving your balcony in complete chaos. You've turned it into a drying station for every piece of wet clothing you own. Swimsuits are draped over the railing, towels are hanging from chairs, and water is pooling on the floor. Your attendant can barely access the space to clean it. On Carnival and Norwegian ships, attendants are required to sweep balconies and wipe down furniture daily, but they can't do it when your stuff is everywhere. One Royal Caribbean steward shared a story about a balcony so cluttered with drying clothes and wet towels that she couldn't reach the sliding door to clean the glass. The passenger later complained about dirty balcony doors, not realizing they'd blocked access. But here's the bigger problem. When you drape items over the railing, especially on windy sea days, they blow off into the ocean. Your attendant then has to document the lost towels and replace them, which comes out of the ship's inventory. Too many lost towels from one cabin can raise red flags with housekeeping management. Plus, items blowing overboard can hit passengers on lower decks. It's a safety issue. If you need to dry swimsuits, use the hooks inside your cabin or the shower rod. Most staterooms have retractable clotheslines in the shower. Keep your balcony accessible so your attendant can maintain it properly. Your outdoor space should be a relaxing retreat, not a laundry disaster zone that makes everyone's job harder. You're acting like the minibar is a free-for-all. You're removing items to make space for your own drinks, then putting them back in different spots. Your attendant has to inventory that minibar every single day. When items are moved or missing, it creates confusion and paperwork. On Royal Caribbean and Norwegian ships, minibars are electronically monitored. If you remove something, it's automatically charged to your account. But on other cruise lines, your attendant manually checks every item against a list. One MSC steward told me about a passenger who removed all the minibar sodas, drank their own, then put the empty cans back in the fridge. When she went to restock, she had to document the missing inventory and file a report because the passenger denied drinking anything. It turned into a 15-minute ordeal that put her behind schedule. Here's the simple truth. If you don't want to pay for minibar items, don't touch them. Most cruise lines clearly state that removing an item, even temporarily, can trigger a charge. If you need fridge space for your own drinks, ask your attendant on embarkation day. Many will happily clear out the minibar for you if you make that request up front. But moving things around and playing games wastes everyone's time. Your attendant isn't trying to trick you into charges. She's trying to keep inventory accurate so the ship can restock properly. Respect the system, and everyone wins. You're making excessive towel demands that border on ridiculous. You're using 6 towels a day per person, leaving them soaking wet in piles, and expecting fresh ones every time you return to your cabin. Your attendant has a limited supply, and she services multiple rooms. On a Carnival cruise, an attendant told me about a family of 4 who used 23 towels in a single day. They'd take pool towels, use them once, leave them on the balcony, and request more. By evening, the attendant had to borrow towels from storage just to keep up. Here's what most cruisers don't realize. Cruise ships do laundry for thousands of passengers daily. The system works when people are reasonable, but when you're using towels like they're disposable, you're straining the ship's resources and your attendant's ability to serve everyone fairly. Most staterooms are stocked with enough towels for 2 people to comfortably get through a day. You don't need a fresh towel every time you wash your hands. Use one for your body, one for your face, and one for your hair. Hang them to dry and reuse them. If you absolutely need extras for a specific reason, Ask politely and understand there might be a brief wait. Your attendant isn't withholding towels to be difficult. She's managing inventory across 20 cabins. Be mindful of what you actually need versus what you want in the moment. A little consideration goes a long way. You're leaving your cabin in the middle of cleaning and then complaining it wasn't finished. Your attendant knocks, you say come in, and then you sit on the bed scrolling your phone while she tries to work around you. Or worse, you leave for 5 minutes, come back, and get annoyed that she's still there. This creates an impossible situation. Your attendant can't fully clean your room when you're occupying the space. She can't vacuum under your feet or make the bed while you're sitting on it. On Royal Caribbean ships, attendants are trained to ask if you'd like service later, but many passengers insist they'll just be a minute. One Norwegian steward told me about a passenger who sat in the cabin for 30 minutes during cleaning, then left a bad review saying the room wasn't properly serviced. The attendant couldn't complete tasks like flipping the mattress or deep cleaning the bathroom with the passenger hovering. Here's the professional courtesy. When your attendant arrives, either step out for 15 minutes or ask her to return later. Most are happy to accommodate your schedule if you communicate. Don't camp out in your room and expect full service to happen around you. And if you do leave mid-cleaning, give her at least 20 minutes before returning. She needs time to complete the job properly. Your attendant wants to give you the best possible service, but she needs space to work efficiently. Help her help you by being flexible and considerate with timing. You're treating your cabin attendant like an on-demand concierge without any appreciation. You're calling multiple times a day for minor requests, snapping your fingers when you see them in the hallway, and never saying thank you. These crew members work 12 to 14-hour days, service up to 20 cabins, and deal with passengers who treat them like servants instead of hospitality professionals. On a Carnival cruise, an attendant shared that a passenger called 6 times in one afternoon, once for extra hangers, once for ice, once to adjust the air conditioning, once for more coffee, once to ask about shore excursions, and once to complain the towels weren't soft enough. Not a single please or thank you in any interaction. Here's the hard truth. Your cabin attendant is there to ensure your comfort, but they're not your personal assistant. Most requests can wait until the scheduled cleaning times. If you have multiple needs, write them on a note card and leave it on the desk. Your attendant will handle everything during service without interrupting their workflow. And when they do help you, acknowledge it. A simple thank you takes 2 seconds and means everything to someone who's been on their feet since 6 in the morning. These crew members are often thousands of miles from home, working contracts that last 6 to 9 months. They miss birthdays, holidays, and family events to make sure you have a great vacation. The least you can do is treat them with basic human decency and respect their time. You're leaving absolutely zero tip or feedback despite exceptional service. Your attendant has gone above and beyond every single day. Extra towel animals, personalized notes, remembering your drink preferences, and always greeting you with a smile. But when disembarkation arrives, you walk off the ship without leaving a single dollar or positive comment card. On most cruise lines, cabin attendants earn a base salary that's often below minimum wage in their home countries. They rely heavily on tips to support their families. Royal Caribbean and Carnival have automatic gratuities, but many passengers don't realize they can adjust those tips up for outstanding service. One MSC steward told me about servicing a family for 7 days, delivering special requests, arranging surprises for a birthday, and keeping the cabin immaculate. They left zero additional tip beyond the automatic charge and didn't fill out a positive review. She said it felt like all her extra effort meant nothing. Here's what you need to understand. These crew members remember every passenger. When you tip generously and leave positive feedback, you're directly impacting their career advancement and financial stability. Most cruise lines use guest feedback for promotions and bonuses. A glowing comment card can lead to a raise or better cabin assignments. If your attendant has made your cruise special, acknowledge it. Leave an additional tip in an envelope with a thank you note on the last night. Fill out the comment card highlighting their name and specific actions. These small gestures create life-changing impacts for crew members who dedicate their lives to your comfort. You're engaging in incredibly inappropriate behavior that crosses every professional boundary. You're walking around your cabin completely naked when your attendant knocks. You're making suggestive comments or trying to flirt. You're inviting them to sit on your bed for a chat. This puts your attendant in an extremely uncomfortable and potentially dangerous position. On every major cruise line, crew members are trained on how to handle harassment, but it shouldn't happen in the first place. One Royal Caribbean attendant told me a male passenger answered the door in his underwear every single morning, despite her knocking and announcing herself. When she reported it, the passenger acted like it was no big deal, but she dreaded servicing that cabin the entire week. Another Carnival steward shared that a passenger offered her cash to give him a massage in his cabin. She reported it immediately, and the passenger received a warning from security. Here's the absolute truth. Your cabin attendant is not interested in anything beyond professional service. They're working, not looking for romantic connections or inappropriate interactions. When they knock, wait until you're fully dressed to answer. Keep conversations polite and brief. Never ask personal questions about their relationships, living situations, or offer to spend time with them outside of work. These crew members have families, partners, and lives that have nothing to do with entertaining your fantasies. Respect boundaries, period. If you can't treat your attendant with professional courtesy, you don't deserve their service. You're completely ignoring safety protocols and blaming your attendant when things go wrong. You're blocking smoke detectors with clothing, overloading electrical outlets with adapters and chargers, and leaving your balcony door open in rough seas. When something happens, you point fingers at housekeeping. On Norwegian Cruise Line, an attendant was blamed when a passenger left a straightening iron on a towel and it burned a hole in the desk. The passenger claimed the attendant must have moved it. Security footage showed the passenger placing it there herself, but the attendant still had to file reports and deal with the accusation. Another incident on Royal Caribbean involved a passenger who disabled their smoke detector because it was too sensitive. When it was discovered during a routine check, they claimed the attendant must have broken it during cleaning. Your attendant is responsible for noting safety violations, not causing them. If you're doing something that could endanger yourself or others, don't expect your steward to cover for you. They're required to report issues like covered detectors, propped open doors, or dangerous electrical setups. It's not personal, it's maritime law. Cruise ships have strict safety regulations because fires and flooding at sea are catastrophic. Your attendant is protecting everyone on board, including you. Don't tamper with safety equipment, don't overload outlets, and don't block emergency exits with luggage. When you ignore these rules and something goes wrong, your attendant faces disciplinary action even though you created the problem. Take responsibility for your own safety and stop blaming the people who are trying to protect you. You're stealing items from your cabin and acting like it's included in your cruise fare. You're packing bathrobes, hair dryers, pillows, hangers, and even artwork into your luggage. Your attendant inventories the room after you disembark and has to document every missing item. On Carnival ships, this is such a widespread problem that crew members now photograph cabins before and after each sailing. One Royal Caribbean attendant told me a passenger stole the decorative throw pillows, the alarm clock, and 6 hangers. The charges were added to their account before they even left the ship. But here's what makes this worse. Your attendant is often the first person questioned when items go missing. She has to prove she didn't misplace or damage them. It creates unnecessary stress and paperwork that takes away from her next set of passengers. Most cruise lines clearly list what you can take and what you can't in the cruise contract. Toiletries, pens, notepads, and sometimes towels are fair game. Everything else stays on the ship. That bathrobe you love? It costs $60 and will be charged to your account. The hairdryer? $50 plus a replacement fee. If you want a souvenir, visit the gift shop. Don't steal from your cabin and make your attendant deal with the aftermath. These crew members are already working incredibly hard. The last thing they need is to spend an hour documenting theft and filing reports because you decided you deserved a free pillow. You're leaving your cabin in absolutely disgusting condition on disembarkation morning. You've trashed the bathroom, left food on every surface, and there's a mystery stain on the carpet that nobody wants to investigate. Your attendant has less than 2 hours to flip that room for the next passenger's boarding in the afternoon. On embarkation day, ships turn around thousands of cabins in a matter of hours. Your attendant is racing against the clock, and when you leave your room looking like a crime scene, it makes an already stressful day nearly impossible. One MSC steward told me about a cabin where passengers had apparently had a food fight. There was ketchup on the ceiling, fries ground into the carpet, and the shower was full of empty bottles. It took 3 crew members an hour to clean what should have been a 30-minute turnover. The next guests had to wait in the terminal because their room wasn't ready. Here's the basic courtesy. You don't have to deep clean your cabin, but don't leave it in worse condition than a landfill. Throw trash in the bin, wipe up obvious spills, and don't smear food on walls. Your attendant will handle the rest. Remember, someone has to clean up after you, and they're doing it under intense time pressure. Treat your cabin with the same respect you'd want if you were about to move into someone else's space. A little consideration on your last morning creates a ripple effect of smoother service for everyone. If you've done any of these 14 things, don't panic. Now you know better, and you can change your behavior on your next cruise. Your cabin attendant works incredibly hard to make your vacation special, often sacrificing time with their own families for months at a time. The least we can do is treat them with respect, appreciation, and basic courtesy. These crew members are the unsung heroes of every cruise, and they remember passengers who go out of their way to be kind just as much as they remember the ones who make their lives miserable. So here's your action plan. On your next sailing, greet your attendant by name. Communicate your needs clearly, tip generously, and leave your cabin in reasonable condition. Small actions create massive impacts in their daily lives. If this video opened your eyes to what really happens behind the scenes, smash that like button and subscribe for more insider cruise secrets. Drop a comment telling me which of these surprised you most, or share your own cabin attendant appreciation story. And if you want to know what else you're doing wrong on cruises, check out my next video on the biggest mistakes first-time cruisers make that cost them hundreds of dollars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next sailing.